The government pigs are at it again in terms of money spending, and this time it's Chrystia Freeland and her monthly expenses. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah!
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to The Fringe. We've talked a lot on this channel about the ridiculous levels of money that are wasted when it comes to government, whether it's municipal, provincial, federal, but none have been more alarming than what, of course, the federal government spends. We've seen Justin Trudeau on his lavish $80,000 plus Christmas vacations. We've seen him throwing money away left, right, and center on wild parties and whiskey tastings for $250 million contract recipients. Well, now we're seeing more reports coming out that other members of Parliament have been adding to the pile. And it's of no surprise, ladies and gentlemen, it really isn't at this point. But it's just going to show just what this government sees you as. At a time when they're telling you you can't go outside, you can't drive anywhere, that you're ruining the environment, that you're a terrible human being, well, they're living it up. All of our money, all of our taxes, whether it's carbon, whether it's income tax, whether it's federal tax, it's all going to pushing their lavish lifestyles, acting as though they're, well, royalty. Now, we see it with Chrystia Freeland here as the Auditor General's new report comes out, stating, breaking, Canada Auditor General has revealed that Deputy Prime Minister Chrystia Freeland expenses nearly $6,000 a month on personal grooming. Expenses include hairdressers, spa treatments, personal trainers, and gym memberships. If I was to claim under my corporation any of these as personal expenses throughout the month, I'm pretty sure my accountants would tell me that that's not feasible. Getting your hair cut, I could understand a portion of why that would go into an expense. However, that's a personal choice. That's something you should incur on a personal level. Spa treatments. Again, that's something you do in your pastime. That's something outside of work. That's not something that's required to do your job. So that's something she should be paying for out of her ridiculously large salary that she gets from the government of Canada. Personal trainers. Again, that's a personal preference. She should have to pay for those expenses. And gym memberships. I don't know any company on this planet. I know companies that offer gyms in the workspace or the ability to go to a gym, but they usually require that employees pay some form of a membership in order to attain those gyms. Now, sometimes those memberships are reduced, but to expense this to Canadian taxpayers every month, keep in mind, this is the twisted witch that also stated you should cancel your Disney Plus if you can't afford things, that her family loves to walk and commute amongst Toronto. You should drive an electric car. They don't own a vehicle, yet we've seen that's a complete lie. Chrystia Freeland, despite, by the way, using these $6,000 a month to do her hair looks like crap. I don't know who else can agree that her hair looks like she just got out of bed. So whoever she's paying $6,000 a month to needs to be fired. For doing such a shoddy job of trying to make her look somewhat representable. But the Wicked Witch of the WEF has no bounds when it comes to how she views Canadians. This is a government that has caused these kind of problems. We look in Toronto, bread lines are back. You can see people here in this video lined up amongst the streets just to get something to eat. People can't afford any basic costs these days. And we've seen uprisings of almost 3 million Canadians per month using a food bank in order just to pay their basic bills, in order to get by. They can't even afford groceries with Justin Trudeau's carbon tax, which, as a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, quadruples as of April 1st. They always say that it's the April Fool's Day sham, but as we take a look here into these bread lines, like people are desperate. When you hear about the rise on crime, what's going on in our country right now, between homelessness, people not being able to afford rent, people not being able to afford their houses, when we talk about the $250 million contract given to GC strategists, or GC Strategies, I think it is, during the Arrive scam. $250 million for doing essentially nothing. And these were guys that were getting $1,900 a day per diems. This government has a spending problem. We've known this for quite some time, but this is where people need to get outraged. This is where people need to get out and make their voices heard. This article comes out from CTV saying 1 in 4 Canadians would be unable to afford a sudden expense of $500. I know in our household, we had a sudden expense over the weekend where our washer and dryer kind of quit after almost 10 years. So we're faced with multiple thousands of dollars if we want to replace that, just before we even tackle the average thing. And that's an unexpected cost. Now, people will say, hey, that's part of owning a home. That's part of, day-to-day life. But when you get met with any kind of, whether it's a car repair, whether it's something like that with a appliance, whether it's somebody got sick and needs medical assistance with medications that aren't covered under healthcare spending, glasses, dental work, you name it. If a pet gets sick and needs some form of surgery, $500 would put the average Canadian out. I just want to go over a little bit of this article before touting just how ridiculous this Liberal government continues to be. A quarter of Canadians say they would be unable to cover an unexpected expense of $500, according to new data from StatCan. Now, I imagine that that's grown since the writing of this article. Yes, because this survey was collected mid-October to early December of 2022. So this has grown. I'm willing to bet it's probably about 3/4 of Canadians now that wouldn't be able to cover unexpected expenses like this. Nearly half, or 44%, also said they were very concerned about their ability to afford housing or rent. Now, again, it's important that we take a look at that quote, because from 2022 to now the beginning of 2024, it has gotten significantly worse. Those 44%'s fears have become a reality. These fears were partially pronounced among younger Canadians, who were much more likely to report housing or rent concerns or an inability to purchase a home or continue living where they wanted to due to rising costs. I know in Calgary right now, where I live, the average cost to rent a single detached home, so if you had children, if you couldn't live in an apartment-style condo, the average cost of rent for a detached home somewhere in the vicinity of $2,500 to $3,000 a month. Just to get your residence. Forget your car, forget your gas, forget your insurance, your cell phone, your internet, your school fees, your utilities. Like, this country is on a death spiral. And people like Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau want you to not be able to live while they go out and live the high life. While Chrystia Freeland goes out and gets her feet rubbed and gets a cucumber mask, whatever it is they put on their face to try and look better. Look, again, she looks like crap. No amount of spa treatments are going to make her look appealing to the eye or any younger than she currently looks. Again, I'm shocked she can even get around water, seeing as she's the Wicked Witch of the WEF. But here we are, ladies and gentlemen, $6,000 a month, and that's just in those expenses. What about other expenses that she alleviates to the Canadian taxpayer? I would really be curious for the Auditor General to go in and start showing us just how much, down to the number, that each one of these self-entitled delegates gives themselves out of taxpayer money every single year. And this is where I think it's important that I've said before, when it comes to electing our new government, we should be questioning Pierre Poilievre. We should be questioning many of these representatives that want to hold government office to say, what are you going to do when you get in to reduce these costs? If the government, if you think about this, if Chrystia Freeland is racking up $6,000 a month, let's just say every MP in the House of Commons racks up $6,000 a month in expenses. What if they put a cap on that? What if they put a cap on that and said, you're now reduced to $2,000 maximum in those kind of expenses, and anything else that comes out of your salary, it's your own personal expense, you're unable to claim those things. Can you imagine what that would do for Canadian taxpayers? When you think about your paychecks going out at 30% tax and the ridiculous things that these guys get to claim, I'd love to go to the gym and claim that on my company. I would love to go pamper my wife for a day or be pampered at a spa and be treated like royalty and told that, hey, that's okay, somebody else is going to pick up the tab. We'd all love that kind of treatment. But the fact of the matter is, you need a government with a little bit of humility that's willing to admit, hey, we caused this problem. So we're certainly not going to live the high life while everybody else is suffering. So again, it's important when, and I've said it again, I'll cheer on candidates like Pierre Poilievre and say he's going to be the next Prime Minister of Canada, but it's so important to hold their feet to the fire and say, look at what Chrystia Freeland's doing. Look at what Justin Trudeau's doing. What's going to stop you from doing this when you become the Prime Minister? It's important to ask those things, and it's important to get the right answers, because what you have to let these governments know is that when they get in, our eyes are on them. And as soon as they screw up, we're going to call it out. We're coming for them. It's not all rose-colored glasses. The fact of the matter is we've got ourselves here by allowing this to continue. And the time's come to make it stop. Now, there's not a lot we can do against Justin Trudeau. There's not a lot we can do with Freeland before they're booted out of office. But what we can do is start raising these things to the MPs that come to our doors, that phone us, that email us, asking for surveys, that say, who are you going to vote for in the next election? You need to start asking them, what are you going to do to stop this pig at a trough style behavior and reduce the amount of taxes that are coming out of my pocket? Everybody who goes to work 9 to 5 deserves as much of that money as possible because they've earned it. Chrystia Freeland has not earned the right to do anything. She has not earned the right to go get her feet rubbed. She has not earned the right to bill for haircuts and personal trainers and gym memberships. She hasn't earned any of that. She hardly does any work at all, in contrast to what the average person does at their job. So if somebody could explain to me why these entitled pigs at a trough are due the right to behave like this is completely asinine. I wouldn't even take any fact at this point, trying to clarify why this is okay, because let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, it's not. But let me know what you guys think down below. Are you as appalled as I am? I know I'll be making a phone call to Chrystia Freeland's office later today to express just how I feel. And I'll be making that call again and again and again until they don't pick up the calls any longer. Give me your comments down below. Let me know how you feel. Tell me if you're going to be joining that call list. If it's your first time here, I hope this video has earned your subscription. Make sure to join us here on the channel every Friday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Central for Friday Night Fringe, where we're going to go over everything that happened this week, everything coming up in the week ahead, and a little bit of back of Q&A with my community. It's always great. I've been seeing new and new viewers coming in all the time. This channel's constantly growing, so thank you to everybody who's come in. I always love getting the opportunity to talk to you guys outside of making these videos and hear what you have to say outside of the comment section. So make sure to join us on that live stream. It's always great to see you there. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day and enjoyed this video. I'll catch you on the next one.